you're here.
Listen,
welcome to Wholesale Hotties, the place where ladies in real estate are talking about real estate. I'm your host and MC, Sharon Lee Smith, together with my favorite co-host, Donda Mullinex, who I was just teasing on text because she was running behind. Our newest hottie, Jennifer Stewart. Thank you for joining us. Yay.
Thank you so much for making me a co-host on this amazing show.
I love that you're here. And today's guest is Brenda. Please don't let me butcher your last name, Poskitt. Am I right?
Perfect. Perfect. Yes.
Brenda, welcome to the show. I'm so glad you're here.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Brenda, when you send me your information, you described yourself as someone who's walked the same path of many new investors that are just getting started, and you want to help others do the same. Can you take us back to your first few steps in real estate? What did that look like, and what made you take the leap into investing?
Oh, I love that. I have been doing traditional real estate for 25 years. So started doing it just for fun. My husband at that time made enough money to support us. I had been doing radio advertising, and it had gotten ugly and yucky and mean. So I decided to take a step into because they would take away my clients. I would get clients and they'd take them away from me once I built them up. And so I thought, I'm going to find a business that they can't steal my clients. So real estate was one of the ones that was, yeah, right? Yeah. So real estate was one where you could retain your clients, if you were good. And I tried to be very service oriented, loved it. It didn't feel like work. And again, it was our second income. So even though I didn't have to, I was successful. I made good money. I was always able to support our fun times, our vacations and stuff. And so, 20 years later, then, I get a divorce. And so that insurance and that backup money is not there anymore. So I throw it into fifth gear and just start working nonstop, and built up an even bigger business. 65 transactions a year in Seattle. That's a lot.
Wow. That's anywhere a lot.
I was on a team, and we all worked together, but I was feeling very just worked all the time. I was working all the time. I was working like a 9 to 5, but instead of 9 to 5, it was like 9 to 9 and 24 hours a day and making really good money. But it started to think, in the terms of, this is not sustainable. I'm getting older, and this is transactional. And every time, you spend what you make, kind of a thing. I did invest. I started investing a long time ago, but then I found Pace Morby, but I found Gator first. And so in November of 2022, I found Gator, and I jumped in and just was so excited about that until I kept hearing about this sub 2 thing. And I'm like, what is sub 2? And how did I not know about this? With 20 years of real estate, how many people could I have helped? I could have helped so many people. So I, jumped 180% into that and went to every single thing that Pace had and learned all about sub 2 and how to do it. Do you think I've ever done one? No, I have not. I have not done a sub 2 yet in the because I didn't join him until 2023. And then I've met Vina Jetty through Pace at one of his events, and squirrel, multifamily. Yeah, times 10. Let's do. Gotta go.
She'll be on the show soon. I love her.
I love her. She is truly in my heart as one of the best people I have. Pace is too. I love Pace. He's got the biggest heart of anybody I've ever met. But Vina is also of that same. She took me on tours of homes, showed me how to go through multifamily properties and be incognito. And we just had the best time. Great mentorship. Joined love that. So with that, it's like, what else can I learn? And when you take that test that Rosie tells us to do, and my
Yeah.
number is learning. That's the number one thing is learning. And then I can't remember the other four right now. They're all in that whole go get them place. So yeah, I learned Gator, Sub 2, Vina Jetty, joined Dealmaker, learned about buying businesses, and only stayed with that a year because I felt like I had gotten what I
When you
needed
say
out
deal
of it.
maker, you mean
Carl Allen.
Abraham Gray's deal maker?
Well, I joined it initially. Abraham was very involved in it, but it was Carl Allen, and
Okay,
yeah. And so I went to that in New Jersey, the first one, and of course joined. And
I only
then
clarify because there's like 1,000 different deal makers out there.
is there now? Yeah, what kind?
There's
business buying.
Well, just in general, just different mentorships called deal maker. So,
Gotcha.
Anyway,
I did not know that. Yeah, no. So loved that. Spent a year with them learning everything I could. Sucked it all in, got all the documents and everything I needed to take that and use it. And I actually almost bought an HVAC company here in Washington.
What do you mean almost? Why didn't you?
Oh, it was such a sad thing. I was so sad but happy. Sad but happy.
Okay.
Went through all of the due diligence, got all of the docs. He was so excited because he'd owned this company. His son did not want to take it over, and he wanted to get out, but he didn't want to close it. So I met with him. It was a company that I had never actually heard of before. It was in Renton of Washington, and met with him, went through all the numbers, told him what I would pay him monthly, like in a pension, was going to get it for nothing down. And it was just shortly after we hadn't signed any paperwork yet, but we were still working through the numbers, and another bigger company came in and just said, we will take over. You can still be involved if you want. I was trying to keep him involved for a little bit so I could hire somebody to
an operator, yeah.
Yeah, an operator. And he was fine with that. He said, I don't have to retire now. But then when somebody came in and said, you can be out or you can be in and we'll pay you, they paid more.
Yeah.
It was, but I was happy for him. He's such a nice guy. It worked out perfectly. And I felt like he probably wouldn't have got it if I hadn't started, because then he had his ears open for that kind of an opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it worked out. It worked out for him, and I'm happy for him. But I haven't had the opportunity to dive back into that again, and it was a little hard. A lot of time, a lot of effort went into. It was a 3 months of working with him and talking to him and meeting with him, and so.
Yeah, I think if I buy a business, it'll be in HVAC. I've worked in HVAC for 15 plus years, so I think I know the business well enough that.
Yeah, and I don't.
I would do that.
It only came to me because as a realtor. It only came to me as a realtor. It's needed. It's never gonna. It's recession proof. It'd be something you never have to really worry about. And the fact is that whenever I was trying to schedule an HVAC company for one of my clients or myself, they're always booked. They're always so busy. So
yeah,
it's good.
It was pandemic proof too. And we never shut down during the pandemic. It was good because people, even if they're trapped in their houses, they still need air conditioning.
Exactly. and heat.
Heat.
Yeah. It's kind of like me when I was a realtor. I did not shut down. I mean, I worked harder. I was a little jealous. It was like people would be like,
I'm on work collecting. What? Jeez, I gotta go in every day. The heck?
I need a new puzzle, and I'm like, I want to have time to do a puzzle.
Yeah, exactly.
Let alone find one. So yeah, Dealmaker was another one, and then I got involved with Rob Abasolo in Airbnb because that was really my goal, to buy an Airbnb in Arizona and just make it fun. And I was I wanted to make money on it, but it was more so I could have a place to stay when I was in Arizona for the sub 2 stuff and have that. And then
together.
we still could. It's still on my radar. But it's just gotten so.
Yeah,
saturated, and to make money. I mean, I don't want to be making. I want to earn money. I want to have it make money. I don't want it to sit vacant, so you have to be so special now in order for.
Unique. You want your property to be unique to stand out. And
yeah,
it's it's hard when it's just like the standard, like, oh, it's like the house next door and then one next door and they all look like the same. And it's like, how do you make yours special? You know?
Right. I
Yeah.
agree. And
That's-
plus the regulations have gotten so much stricter, and there's, you know, you can still do it in some areas. I like Scottsdale. I like that area. I like Paradise Valley. I like the Cactus Corridor. I'm very picky on where, because I want to be able, I would never own a rental that I wouldn't live in. That's my goal. That's always been my goal.
Right.
That I got to be able to live there. And if something happened and it was the last place in the world that I needed to go to, it would be okay to live there.
Yeah.
So that was my next journey. And so I've taken all those things and I've been helping other people define, including digital marketing, because I started getting into social media and doing all that stuff and figuring if I could learn that and teach myself how to do it, then I can maybe help other people along that journey to get that under their belt without having heart attacks like I used to do.
Yeah.
None of
And the
Jennifer does
pivot.
a lot of marketing, don't you, Jennifer? Can we
I'm
hear
sorry, I
her?
had a little bit of feedback
Oh,
there.
yeah, I said Jennifer does a lot of marketing. She's kind of a marketing guru.
Through cold calling and also lead follow-up. That's true. And then, of course, I have a lot of social media programmed out every day. And I feel like Facebook hasn't been getting a lot of traction lately. And so I'm curious what you guys think. Are my posts just non-compelling and sucking, or is something going on with Facebook? I'd love to hear you guys' feedback on that.
I don't think Facebook is as good as it used to be at all in getting followers or in getting people to respond to anything. I think TikTok is better, and I resisted.
And Instagram. We've had a lot of people like, well, how come you're not, like, I just had this show and it's like, I follow you guys on YouTube, but why aren't you guys doing more on Instagram? And I'm like, yeah, I'll talk. I mean, so it's like everybody's like kind of switching over, like you said, TikTok, Instagram. I think it's because it's quick and the people
it's quicker.
They can respond and they're gone. It's like,
And the cool thing with Instagram is you can post to both. You can do post on Instagram and it'll automatically go over to Facebook. So
Facebook.
so it's
I have recently found that any of my real estate content, we lost her.
Oh no.
My real estate content doesn't get a lot of views at all, but all my posts about my puppy get tons of views.
Yes. Yeah. I post about my horse or my dog or my grandkids and it blows up. But you post about anything related to any business situation, it's like they've seen it before and they roll through. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
I imagine being in radio advertising, you can take that skill set and transfer that a lot into social media. I know that, like, I was in print advertising for a little while, and taking that skill set and applying it into, you know, what I do, trying to market myself and my business and even the Hotties, you know, it really transfers. And even in wholesaling, right? Because that's primarily a sales-based business, whether I'm selling my offer to the homeowner or I'm selling my contract to the end buyer. I'm a salesperson, right?
Exactly.
So I can transfer those skills in that way.
Yeah.
And,
so which is why it's not necessarily included in a lot of my passive income training, because my whole thing is about training how to create passive income so that you can, you know, have a work optional life so that your money is working for you while you sleep, and you're, you know, whether that's through digital sales, through rentals, and rentals, you know, I qualify that they have more work to them, but you can set up systems that allow you to be hands off, and then fractional investing and syndications and you know, Airbnbs can be set up that you don't touch them. You have a management company. It all depends on how much you want to be involved. So those are I try to position for people who are my age who had to start. I had to start over. I mean, and so I worked that 5 years crazy, and then decided, this is just too much to I can't sustain it. And I wanted to find that path that led me to being able to have. So I invested. I did an accredited investment with Pace on his multifamily deal, and I also went in with Vina on her Arcadia Cove, 465 units in Arizona, And I started doing syndication a long time ago where, you just put up the money and they manage it and you get your returns monthly and then cash out. I've had several of those that have been mind-blowing successful. So, and I have a couple of them that I'm just holding until they decide to sell. And they've been really good return on investment because most of them have already paid off my initial investment, and then you're just collecting money. And then when they sell, you get like the big amounts.
Can you explain that a little bit to our guests that maybe don't understand what that is, the syndications you're talking about?
Absolutely. It's one of the simplest ways it's kind of like a REIT, but it's more selective. So usually there's a LLC that finds a multifamily property or a business, and they want people to be invested with them. So you invest as much. It can go as low as $10,000 depending on how they've set up their syndication. And the ones that I did were usually around a $50,000 intake, and one was a $25,000 intake. But you can use your self-directed IRA to do it, and you throw your retirement money into these big investments, and then they have usually, it's similar to multifamily, but on a different scale because they bring it to so many people that you get a return on your investment monthly on whatever the profits are. And then you also get a return when they sell. So you get the appreciation and the monthly income, which is very nice. And smaller dollars, like I get a much better return on my investment with Venus Arcadia Cove because big property, lots of people in there. The ones that I have one is in Capitol Hill in Seattle, and it's 3 buildings that have 9 units, and so not 465, but and not an $8 million purchase, but still it's more diversified into the amount of investors that are in it. They break it down more because you don't have to be an accredited investor to be in a syndication. Because they have all of the paperwork involved to I'm going to have some lawyer explain that because I don't know that better. Right. It's what Pace did when he took the Arizona property and opened it up to everybody. And so he initially only had it for accredited investors, which you have to have you have to earn $250,000 a year single or $300,000 a year married, or you have to have $1 million net value, not including your residential home, not including your primary home.
And then usually at those, they need a larger amount of money to be involved.
Usually minimum is $100,000 to get into those. Unless you do a fund to fund, which Vina allowed with hers. So people would do a fund to fund where they'd say, I'm going to commit to $500,000, and they would bring in $250,000, and then they'd go get people to do 50, 50, 50, 50, and then they'd have $500,000. You were part of their small little fund to fund for that project. And paperwork on their side that is probably killer. I initially was on that bandwagon. I'm going to do a fund to fund, and then it was like, no, it's a lot. It's a lot of work, a lot of paperwork, a lot of bookkeeping, a lot of setup, a lot of systems. Once you get them set up, though, I think it's easier. But you have to set it up every time with each project. So each one is good.
And a different LLC for each one. And I mean, and there's a lot of, like you said, legalities and stuff like that. It's kind of something you have to just focus on totally, I think, with nothing else to distract you, because
that's exactly correct. Because
the beauty of doing it with other people, right?
Yes.
That they have the expertise. Like Vina's got Nick, right? Mm-hmm. So you've got the experts handy at their fingertips. So you can kind of just be like, here, take my money and give me a return when it's done. Right?
And Nick was amazing in helping.
Don't make me do anything. Just take my money and give me money back. I'm good.
That's what I want. See, that's my thing. It's like, take my money and let me just get a good return. That's why I want to start. I've been looking into transactional funding, because that's another way you can service and help people who are in position. Like if they have to do a double close, you can throw them a chunk of money and let them close on their deal, and you get paid back a good percentage in a very short period of time. So Another
I have
thing.
a friend, Natalie Belisarios. I don't know if you know Natalie, but she's now created this transactional type of a thing called Close and List. And it's for wholesalers. They fund the wholesalers deal at 100% closing. They close the property and then they list it on the MLS.
Wow.
And they get paid at the other end at the resale. And that way the wholesaler can every time close on the deal.
That is
so cool.
Amazing. And so if you're looking for
writing that down.
Yeah, Natalie Belisarios.
I haven't seen her advertise that.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. Jeff Watson actually helped her set that fund up, of
Oh,
course,
that's
right?
awesome.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I know
that's great.
Jeff Watson, and her name sounds familiar. How do you spell her last name?
Oh gosh.
Say it again, and I'll
It's
say it again.
BALL, like ball.
Uh-huh.
ASTEROS.
Yes. And we had her and Lydia on one of the beginning episodes. So go back and watch it. But yeah, she just
I will.
finally got that open and running, and it's doing great. And
I love that.
they're always
Bring
looking
the
for.
realtors. Does she bring the realtors, or can you bring your own realtor?
I think you can bring your own realtor. She's just the lender. She's
okay.
Because
I wasn't sure.
Transactional lending company, and so they're always looking for other investors. So if you're looking for something passive to do transactional type funding, there you go, Brenda.
I love that. That's
There
so
you go.
cool. That is very cool.
Which is great because some of these states are having a lot of restrictions on wholesalers now. And so these people now, they're solving that problem.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, because she's actually in the Richmond area, and that was Richmond, Virginia last year passed the wholesaling law where you're technically only supposed to do one wholesale transaction per year.
Yeah.
Unless you're licensed,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so a lot of people are getting around that in many ways.
By doing the double close.
And one of the ways, is a double close.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lydia and Natalie came up with this idea and worked with Jeff and created the fund for this purpose. And so they have obviously very strict criteria on the transactions that they'll lend to, but they will lend at 100%. So the wholesaler doesn't need to bring in their own money.
Man, that's awesome.
The wholesaler gets paid on the resale, not at the initial close. So they have to stay in the deal for the duration, but that's okay too, right? I think that's great.
That is great. Yeah.
I think that brings an ethicality, an ethical,
Yeah, you can't just throw deals at the lender and go, good luck.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, they're running numbers and they're making sure it's safe for this wholesaler to lock it up at this price, because a lot of wholesalers lock it up and then they can't sell it. And people have I started moving already. Now they backed out on me, and it's
that's the unethical wholesaler.
No, unethical wholesale. There's unethical people in every. I mean, that's just it. Wholesalers get a bad rap, but there's unethical realtors. There's unethical lawyers. There's everybody. You
unethical dentists. I've worked as one of those. I've worked that years, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm not working here. This is not ethical for me. If I can't take my family there, then it's not a place for me.
Oh, no kidding.
I'm afraid of the dentist, so I don't even want to know what you're talking about.
I was curious. I was like, I want to know how a doctor can be unethical. And I was like, that's going to take us on such a rabbit trail.
Yeah, well, I just realized that there are unethical Christian radio stations. I started helping a client who is looking to, she was at a radio station. She went into real estate and she wants to do some diversification of her traditional IRA or her SEP account that she has. And so we were working on that. And I was saying, I love that radio station, and she said, oh man, you wouldn't if you knew. It's so crazy for them to be able to promote, themselves as a Christian station when they're evil.
Wow.
That's disturbing.
So, just shows it's everywhere. It's just, that's one of the things that
even like the Catholic Church with all the, all the things.
We won't get into religion, but that is one of the things that I do stand on, is that I like to do it in a faith-based way, in an integrity and faith-based, help people serve them, not just me. It's got to, they want to, they got to want it more than me. They want to understand it. I mean, I will help them as much as they want, but at the same time, they have to want it too. You can't.
Right.
I've worked with some sociopaths who I could tell truly didn't care about people. And I said, look, even if you really don't care about people, integrity is still your best long-term bet for a long-running basis. So even if you really don't care, don't believe in God, don't have any morals, just if you care about making money, maintain integrity so that you have a good long-term, low drama business. It's just good business to have integrity across the board.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. One of the big things I learned in real estate is that whole referral, by just doing your job the best you can so that people love you. And I just never, ever went a year without multiple referrals from people because they liked the way I worked. And that's why I want to continue to do any kind of business in any way, whether it's, like I said, at wholesaling, I tried. And it's just, again, a transactional business that I'm at an age where I feel like that's not where I want to go. Not that I won't do them, because if I find them, I'm going to be calling you and telling you I have one. Hook me up with somebody who wants to buy this thing.
It can be transactional, but that depends on how you operate. So like
It's
for
true.
myself, like I feel like my customers, my clients, the people that I'm serving are those end buyers.
Yes.
And then I'm developing a relationship with them on a regular basis. Even if I don't have a deal, I'm following up, I'm networking, I'm, talking to them, I'm seeing where their businesses are at, what they're doing. You know what I mean? And so I think on that level, it becomes more relational than transactional, right? Because I'm getting to know these people, I'm getting in their business in a way, and I'm providing a
good service.
A white glove service for
them.
them.
I like that better. I like that better. White glove service. Yes.
And so like I think that's important for people when they're getting into real estate, whether it's being an agent or being a wholesaler or being a landlord or being whatever it is that you're doing. Position yourself in a place of service to others, and you will go so much farther, so much faster, and so much longer.
Yes,
right.
I agree with that. That is 100% true.
Yeah.
It's the golden rule: treat people the way you would want to be treated.
Amen.
Yeah.
And do that out of heart and out of your kindness, and just do the best you can. They're gonna know whether you're who people aren't that. I mean, we all get taken advantage of because we are forgiving people and we like to help people, and then every once in a while you might get one that slides in, but for the most part, as long as you're doing what's right, you're going to be taken care of.
I agree with that. Yes, you just pay it forward always.
Brenda, when working with newer investors, what fears or limiting beliefs do you see most often, do you think?
Yeah, the fear of failure, the fear that, they're going to lose all their money, the fear that they don't know enough to take that first step. And that's the biggest thing that I think people have to overcome, is that you don't need to know it all. You need to just take one step at a time. And it obviously helps to have somebody guide you through how you're going to make those steps. But at the same time, there's so much out there now that YouTube and Instagram, and there's so many courses and so many things. It's just, you can get into that analysis paralysis where you just feel like you got to keep sucking it up. And I am a good example, but I will defy this of shiny object syndrome, because you would think I have it with the way I have bounced around, but I believe it was strategic in learning what I need to help with whatever anybody's wheelhouse is, because not everybody wants to do flips, and not everybody. I did one flip, and I don't know if I'll ever do one again. I did.
You still have all your hair. That's good.
I've done Airbnbs. I've done long-term rentals, and I will do long-term rentals in any place but Washington State, because the last one I sold was one that somebody took advantage and stayed there for almost a year.
Yeah.
give them a big check just to get them out so I could sell it. And those are the things that a lot of people get afraid of, and they fear that they're going to get taken advantage of, that they're going to not know how to deal with situations. And so what the thing is we were talking about before, if you go into it with integrity and you go into it with a thought that I'm just going to do this to the best of my ability, one step at a time, take the first step. And what is that? Where do I want to go? How much money do I have to spend? Where can I get that money? Yeah, I have retirement that's just sitting there. And when I wanted to, deploy some of that into a rental or an Airbnb or a syndication or transactional funding or private money lending, where you can get, a good return on your investment back. Those are all things that I've done and I can show how they do. But at the same time, the fear is still there. You just have to talk them off the ledge to say, let's start small. What would be the safest thing you could do right now to feel comfortable doing?
Yeah.
So how are you finding your clients, and are they just people that are coming to you like, I'm looking to buy a rental, or how's your process? What's this look like?
It's a mix. I have a lot of past clients that I've helped them with buying their investment property, so they know they're into it. But personally, I did not realize, I guess you realize it, but you don't know how easy it is to buy outside your state. So many people who did get burned in Washington State and don't want to do it here anymore, just kind of put their money back into the stock market. So because I have the network of Sub2 and Gator and Rob Abasola and even Vina for multifamily people, it's easy for me to say, what state would you want to, and would you want to live there if anything went awry? You want to live in that state, then I recommend going for it. But if you don't want to live there, then maybe you should think of another state.
Yep.
It's like I said, I think for me, it's all about if you want to live there at any point in the future, because why buy something that,
or at least visit frequently.
Visit, yeah.
My long-term plan is to have multiple Airbnbs across the country, and then just spend a couple weeks here.
Girl, preaching to it. That's me. My youngest son moved to Austin area, and wouldn't I love to have an Airbnb there?
Yeah.
And the same with Arizona. Like I said, it's been on my bucket list to have one there, and even here in Seattle, I would go back to having one. Yeah, Oregon and Bend, Oregon.
Oh, Bend's beautiful. Yeah.
Or Chelan, Washington. That was a place where I would do Chelan.
That's beautiful. We have a couple rentals in Washington still, but they're where our family is. So it's really nice because when we go to visit, we write it the whole time going to see family, or as write-offs.
Oh, yeah.
So, and they're a nice little town that if we have a renter moving out, it's rare. When they do, it's like, hey, I have somebody who wants to rent it, because they finally bought their first home or inherited it. But they were like, can I give you somebody? I have people lying to get homes here. And I'm like, it's just the cutest little town. And so I'm like, I don't know that I'll ever get rid of those.
Which town is it?
It's called Natchez, Washington. It's on the other side of the Cascade by Yakima. So it's great for rental market, because people want to take their kids and move out there because of schooling and stuff. But there's times where I'm like you. I'm like, gosh, Washington State, their laws and their taxes and just all this stuff keeps changing. But I'm like, our family's there, and that's a place we'll probably end up being snowbirds and going to during the summer.
Yeah. I love where I live. I live in Snoqualmie, which is about 30 miles east of Seattle, and it's God's
beautiful
country for sure. Yeah. But I raised my kids here, and my oldest son still lives in the area, and have 2 little grandbabies that I get to live 3 minutes away from. And
that's always fun.
Set up. I keep trying to get them to get their retirement moving into a rental of some kind, and I think they're bending that way. They see me, and even though I say work optional life, right? I work, you work, and your hours are a little different, and you're not, 9 to 5. But the difference is I can do it almost anywhere. I mean, I can be on vacation and work, but see, they see that I'm on vacation and I'm working. And so sometimes they're like, we want to take vacation, be on vacation. I do that too.
Right.
Just sometimes when the deals happen or the things happen, you have to be
Sometimes
available.
There's no predicting when they're coming in, and
Nope.
there's no being able to put this off for another day because time is of the essence.
Time is
right?
of the essence. Now you got your real
the
estate
phrase.
license this year, right? Did you say that? You got your real estate license?
I took the test, but I chose to not get licensed because of multiple factors,
Yeah.
but including my attorneys and I worked out our paperwork so that we can get around certain laws. Because
There you
I
go.
don't like
Yeah.
to
See,
comply.
there's certain things you can't do as a realtor. Exactly. In Washington State, there's a lot that I couldn't do that I could do. And you still got to disclose you're a realtor, but you're not held to the laws of that state if you're not licensed in that state.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if we really want to talk about it, the reality is that the way the law is written, the DPOR, Department of Professional Regulation, right, is the person, the organization in charge of controlling or regulating, right, agents and brokers and all that, and discipline, right? So they would be the ones disciplining. But if you don't have a license, they have no authority over you.
that's true.
So if they're the ones that would discipline or enforce the wholesaling law, and I don't have a license, what are they going to do?
That's the thing. And that is
no fucking teeth to the law. So
well, that is the purpose, is to take your license away if you're doing it wrong. And if you don't have a license, then they got nothing on you.
They got nothing.
Mhm.
But sometimes I wonder, guys, if it's not a little bit of the boogeyman, because at least here in Texas, my brokers, they don't know who I am. I'm with EXP. They have no idea who I am. And nothing's ever happened. You know, I've been doing this for a long time. I've had my license for 4 years. The only time I ever heard from my broker is because one time there was someone at a nonprofit that wanted me to use my license for something, and I did something I didn't know I wasn't supposed to be doing, and it was obvious that that was the case. They emailed me and said I wouldn't do it again, and we were good, right? But then other people, I had someone join me at EXP in Alabama, and their broker was up their rear end from the beginning. From the beginning. I was like, well, why is that? Why does your broker even know who you are? Maybe so in certain states it's different. And I've heard similar things sometimes in Virginia too, but in Texas, I don't know if there's just too many of us or what, but
it does depend on the brokerage. I was with Remax, and then when I got into investment, I left because they will not allow wholesaling. They don't want you to be involved in the investing. They're everything has to be approved in advance. It's like, who's got time for that? So I switched to EXP, and they're totally, my broker knows me, but doesn't know me, right? There's no office. There's no, Now, if you were to do something illegal in your state, then other agents could turn you into your real estate board. Mine is Northwest MLS or the Realtors Association of Seattle. We have a very strict association.
I'm with EXP referral. I'm not technically a realtor. I dropped all that because I wasn't using the MLS anyways. Saves me a couple of $3,000 a year. And so I'm with EXP referral under the commercial division. It costs me $53 a month, no MLS dues. And so whenever realtors, I know a few of them, and I'm on the symphony board with a couple of them. And at first you can tell they get a little bit upset at what I do. And I'm like, no, wait a minute. I only have my referral license. So I refer them to people like you. I'm not your competition, right? I find all these deals off market, and then a lot of them end up selling retail, so I can refer them. And I'm only mentioning that because, Sharon, if you ever did want to have your license for any reason, there is the EXP referral division where you're just referring your retail deals to your top 1% realtors in your area who you know are going to work the lead, who you know are going to close, and then you get 25% of that. And so that's a nice way to make money. And then you can still build teams at EXP, as I know that Brenda knows, right? And that's good because people see you making money, right? And they're like, well, I want to do what you do. And it's like, okay, well, go ahead and get your license, join me at EXP. And what I tell them is I'll mentor you for free and I'll teach you everything that I know, right? And do you know how many people have done that? Zero. So it's kind of a way to get people off your back whenever they're like, oh, you make so much money, I want to do what you do. And instead of taking them under your wing for free and then wasting your time, you're like, okay, go get your license and then join me at EXP. And zero people have done that. So
yeah. So do you have to still do the continuing education to have that every 2 years?
I do, yes. So I still have to do all the CE for my license. And in Texas, we have to do 270 hours in the first 2 years. It's one of the hardest ones.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous. But I think after that, it's like, I don't know, 15 or 30 hours, which I have to do before January.
Me too. And I have to do my 30 before my birthday, before your birthday. Every 2 years on your birthday, you renew your license and you have to have your...
So how do you squeeze in the time with everything that you're doing? I would love to know that, Brenda. When do you squeeze in the time for your CE?
What is your schedule?
Yeah, this is going to go out live. And so I cheat. I do cheat. There's a company that you can do it on where you just they have a clock, but as long as, and I've been doing it for so long, I just go through and I pass every test and then leave the clock running, and
there you go.
That you don't have to go through the 30 hours. You just go through each module, go to the end of the module, pass the test.
Edit that out later.
Module, pass the test.
I'm just kidding.
And so I do it.
That's the secret sauce. That costs.
I think they just want you to know the knowledge. So if you're doing well on the test,
I know the knowledge and I'm passing the test. Why do I got to do 30 hours?
Yeah.
You do have to do the ethics and you have to do the core. Those are like timed. And so I always try to get those out of the way at the very beginning of my 2 year. So those are both done for me. So this year in December on the 28th,
all day
I will log in and pay my $78.
I'm so glad we talked about this because it was totally on the back of my mind and now it's on the front of my mind because all of a sudden it's October 9th.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
I know. Where did this year go? I don't know where it went.
How are we almost? It is the 9th, y'all. It's the 9th of. It was just the first. We just started this month. And here we're heading
January 1st.
Of September, yeah, it's like the first of September.
Heading towards Halloween already. That's just here. Yes.
Are you guys seeing more late payments this month? Because I'm getting a lot more tired landlords in my marketing than I have ever in almost 9 years of doing this because they're tired of people not paying, and this is all over the country. So I wonder if you guys Brenda, are you seeing this for any of your clients or anyone that you know where all of a sudden a lot of people aren't paying because they're so cash strapped with the economy?
I haven't. I haven't.
We haven't had any issues with ours at all.
Good.
But we don't have a ton of them, so I've not seen that. But everybody pays on time, and it's just been routine with our people. So.
Do you guys do ACH? Do all of you guys do ACH, automatic payments for your rentals?
Different people use different ones. Zelle is one that a lot of people just set that on auto. You can set Zelle on auto, and
cool.
It goes. Yeah, and more people are using Venmo. Yeah, Venmo has been because I guess they got bought out by PayPal. I guess PayPal owns them, and so yeah. So and they're starting this whole thing where you can pretty soon you'll be able to use credit cards on Venmo. So.
And Venmo doesn't have fees where PayPal takes big fees out from me.
Fees, yeah. But I'm sure Venmo will if they allow you to use a credit card because they'll get charged fees, so they got to pay that. They got to pay that forward, of course.
Right.
No freebies.
You know, Fred Krause, Jen.
Yeah, I love Fred. He's a wealth of knowledge.
Fred last night at Richmond Ring said he had his very first eviction. Fred is like 80-something years old.
I know.
In the area. Him and Marie have been doing rentals forever. He said he's had his very first eviction this last year.
It's people like Fred why I love being on Facebook still, because that's where all the old dogs are and old money and I mean, old money and old knowledge is still on Facebook. They're not really on Instagram. They're definitely not on TikTok. So
that's true. That is true. You are right about that. I am part of that old fogey crowd, but
you don't look it, and God bless you for that.
I tend to I go to Facebook for personal, not so much for business. So I'll put my grandbabies on there, and you'll see a million pictures of my horse and my travels, but. I go to Facebook to learn. I'll get on Sub2 and just network on there and get caught up. And I'll go to Instagram to post because it goes to Facebook. You
Right.
can't do it in reverse, so it makes sense to do Instagram
Yeah.
and post on there. And and then I usually, like I said, lately I've been doing TikTok. TikTok was like, I didn't get it. I did an old fogey, not understanding why are they dancing on my screen. But then
I'm still there, so you're inspiring me. I'm like, I don't.
They have so many more followers. TikTok has so many more people on there. Like I said, I had 30 followers 2.5 weeks ago, and now I have jumped up to 170 in just,
Congrats. Yeah, that's good.
Wow.
just a short amount of
That's
time.
amazing.
Where Instagram, same thing. I had 365 and I'm at 405. So
Nice.
by posting constantly and being I wouldn't say constantly. I know people who do 3-4 posts a day. I don't know how they do that. That's a lot. I do two,
That's kinda
one.
crazy.
I do one, but most of the time I try to do two. I try to do like me giving educational something or inspirational something, and then like a screen one that I add text to, a picture or a video, something with me walking my dog or riding my horse. Or I like to do it through the ears of Orion, where I have Orion writing. I show where I'm going and then just put text on the screen. Kind of a fun ride. Ride with me.
Would you say that the divorce really propelled your success? And do you think you'd be as successful as you are now without your divorce?
No, I would not. I don't believe. We were on. My husband had taken us down a rough road because he had lost his high paying job. He still had a job, but it didn't cost as much. And he tried to start a business and did not do well at it. He's just he didn't have a business mentality and didn't listen to somebody who does. I have a great business mentality.
That's awesome.
But he would not listen. So it ended up that's where we kind of went down, as he took us down financially. And then he got his ego all bent and just leaving. So, whenever you have to split everything 50-50, that takes a lot out of Washington State as community property state. So you split debt and you split credit. I mean, your profits. So So yes, definitely. And it motivated me to not ever depend on somebody else for my own well-being ever again. Other than God. I'll depend on God all day long, but not a.
And so what makes the difference between a high-paying employee like he was and a high-earning business person like what you became? What mentality flaws did both he and anyone else, because I've seen similar things, what do you think they're missing? And I want to hear what you think on that, what you ladies think on that, because I'm not sure I've ever fully been able to verbalize it, because I've done well. I've only had a W-2 job 2 years out of my 22 years as an adult. So there's just something about the way I think that works well in business. I'm not saying I'm Elon Musk or anything, but I've always wondered, what's the difference? Like, how come I'm always profitable in business and so many people are not? I'm not saying that as a bragging thing. There may be a disability inherent to that. I don't know. Maybe there's something on the spectrum, or maybe there's a social skills aspect. I don't know. But I'm always profitable. And
I think all of the above. I think some people just don't have the mentality to not be in a structured environment, to not have that job that tells them what they're supposed to do all the time, where they're going to go. And that was my husband. He knew what he had to do. He was a high-paid salesperson for high tech, and his appointments were set up for him. He would go, he'd sell, he'd close, but when he was not working, he was not very disciplined and not he was pretty flighty. So I believe it's about,
He needed someone to answer to. He couldn't just answer to himself.
no, exactly. Yes. And I think entrepreneurs need to have
honestly,
that.
I'm
self-driven.
pretty successful, but I struggle with that a lot. And
Mhm.
I find I do much better if I have an accountability partner
Sure.
that can keep me toeing the line.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I do tend to not do what I'm supposed to do. and
Well, it's
don't-
easy because we have freedom, right? The freedom to
Right.
choose. And so you can choose to do the work that is not necessarily easy or comfortable,
Or
or you
fun.
can choose to do some more exploring and research and learning and, not take
And I
those
think-
action steps.
Yeah, and I think, Jen, with you have employees. So even though you don't have a boss, you have people that you need to answer to, right?
That's true. Because if
you
their
don't
client
show
load
up-
gets low, I know I'm going to lose them. So
Right,
that
and-
does kind of drive the cart a little bit. I don't want to lose my people. Even if my investments were or are at a point where I didn't need them anymore, I'm not the type of person to pull the ladder up behind me. I may have a lot of flaws, but loyalty, I'm an extremely loyal person, probably to a fault. So
Right.
even if I'm at a point or were at a point or would be at a point where I didn't need my staff, I would hate to just go, well, I'm good. Good luck.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
sure you'll be fine in
Right.
whatever
That
you do.
feel
I
a
can't,
responsibility to them in some way. Yeah.
I can't do that because even though I'll never meet them in my whole life, they're all overseas. And some of them I've never even seen their face. I've just heard their voice.
Yeah.
They have put family on my foods. They've put family on my foods. Wow. Okay. They've put food on my family. I can smell the food right now, and the low blood sugar is making me get my weird fingers. They have helped me put food on my family's table, and their families. So, like every one person who works, we've talked about this before. There's maybe 10 people who are associated with them. So that's a great point, Sharon.
Yeah.
That it's not just me unto myself. And plus I have a house husband and 2 young children. So
Yeah.
I'm motivated.
Yeah.
Right.
And that goes back to the integrity we were talking about before, that, you live the way you would and treat the way you would want to be treated.
Yeah.
Right.
Is this a question, you think, Sharon, from this?
No, we were talking about the evictions and
Eviction be or
and all
delayed.
that. And so
We're
that's
talking
what
about-
that comment was from.
That's
then
one of my clients, Kevin Mall. He told me that's who he was. So he was watching.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Yeah.
Finding well-qualified applicants. Now, that was definitely something you wanted
Yeah.
to address when you were a landlord, for sure.
Yeah, that's and
I've been seeing that a lot too. I like comments in Facebook groups and whatnot of people where, yes, the evictions are up, but then trying to fill the empty afterwards is a bigger problem because they're just not seeing qualified tenants.
that's the problem. Yeah. And that's why I love the lease to own, because they tend to do a little bit better because they don't want to lose that.
Yeah.
They don't want to lose that investment part. They've made it their home. They think of it as their home. Rentals can be, people treat rentals way different. Everybody's got different ways. I mean, you'd hope they'd treat them like they were their own, but so many people think of them like rental cars. It's just a rental, and just get it
Brenda,
up.
did you lose some of your realtor friends whenever you switched? Did you make new realtor friends in their place? Was anyone like, oh, what are you doing? You're doing this investment stuff, or, you're doing sub 2 or you're lending. What's this? Were any of them like, I don't know, Brenda's doing weird stuff? Or were they like, hey, good for you?
Yeah, right.
Most of them have been so supportive and excited, and the sub 2 part, they shake their head and go, yeah, no. Most of them don't get it and really think I went off the deep end. It's like, it's not illegal. You can do it. Especially because I have a lot of lender friends from being in real estate for so long, and they are especially just offended by sub 2 because it's illegal. And it's not illegal. I know it's in your contract but it is something that you can choose to do. It doesn't say you can't do it. You just have to know the consequences of it. So I've talked to a lot of people about sub 2 and how to do it, but I haven't done it myself. I haven't helped anybody do it or done it myself. And I really think I would like to do one before too long. I want to find one, maybe in Arizona. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it, Sharon. Find one in Arizona.
Well,
They will
Brenda,
come.
we are looking for several. We get a lot of come across in Arizona because we're looking when another sub 2 deal that we're going to move into in a different area. So when I come across ones that we aren't interested in that might work for you, send us away for sure.
Perfect. Yeah, live in it for 2 of the 5 years. Live in
Yeah.
it for 2 of the 5 years, and then you can sell it with no capital gains.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we'll definitely share what we find in our area. But yeah, we're We love them. This is one of ours that we're living in now is a substitute deal, and the first one we kept it as a lease option. This one we made as our primary for now, and then the other one is the lease option one, and then we're looking at doing another one to move into and create this one into the Golden Girls 4-bedroom 2-bath to rent to elderly.
I love that so much.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we're going to do with this one. And I thought we were going to stay here a little longer, but it's looking like we're getting ready to move again. So,
No, Donda.
I know Sharon knows my life. She's like, she's not far behind.
Jim, would you just settle down with her for crying out loud?
Is it you or is it your hubby who wants to?
It's my hubby. I mean, I don't mind moving, but I really love our neighbors. And he was like, last night he got home after being gone long, and he knew I was so safe here and why he was gone for a few nights, and just amazing neighbors here.
Yeah.
I am going to miss it here of all the places we've had so far. Amazing neighbors.
You're in Surprise?
We're in Surprise, yeah. We're going to head more to the southeast area, Chandler, I think. And then, but I do have a place in Bullhead City that we Airbnb, and that is another place I feel very safe and have amazing neighbors. So that is definitely a retirement area for us. So, but
Nice.
yeah. But they're out there. They are out there. We get people who call us and stuff with these deals. In fact, I'm trying to work one right now with a place in Chandler with an agent. So,
Oh, yeah.
so
I like Chandler too. Yeah.
Have you ever tried to market for subject to deals? Because if you haven't, I have some clients who try to, and I can tell you the strategy that they use.
sure.
Yeah, I would love to hear that.
So
Yeah.
what they do with my clients who look for subject to deals, because if you remember, interest rates started to go up in 2022, and all of the people who were borrowing freaked out, and they thought, well, then we're just going to go subject to. So I had this influx of subject to marketing clients, and it turns out that that subject to is really not something that's so great as an object to seek. It's a tool to have in your tool belt so that when it comes up, you can use it. But if you try to seek it, for some reason, it's more elusive is what I've seen with my clients. But here's what they do. They look for properties that don't have a lot of equity in them, and that have, of course, very nice interest rates, which was a little easier in 2022 in terms of not having a lot of equity. But I've had my mortgage since 2019, and apparently Experian told me last night, woohoo, you've paid down 10% of your mortgage. So, so you could do, 20% or less equity, like pull a list from List Source. I mean, I have a data and skip tracing company rep. This isn't about me. Pushing my stuff. I'm just letting you know, like, there's a lot of different places where you can get like lists where it would be 20% or less equity.
Oh yeah, I have PropStream, and I've had too many.
Perfect. Good.
Yeah.
So that's one way to do it, and then there's some. For example, you can get mortgage data that shows kind of when those lists were pulled, and so if you want to get it in that window of low interest rates, and then also stack that with the low amount of equity, that would probably be a good start. And then you can stack, senior owners, not that senior owners were going to be a big cohort in that group, or whatever else, tax codes, liens, anything like that. The more you stack, as Jim Ingersoll says, stack them high and deep. It's kind of a joke that we have,
I love it. Yeah. Well, the cool thing about it is 2022 was one of the, highest, at least in my, especially in my area, we had the highest sales prices, and 2023 leveled off. Interest rates were not as good in 2023.
That's right.
Off. 2024 definitely leveled off. Interest rates went up, and then this year, obviously, and then so pricing has gone down. So some people who bought in 2022 have lost equity in their homes. They don't have the equity they thought they would at this point. And if they do want to sell, they might have to write a check. So that's
well said.
And it's still in that low interest rate area that you can go in and get a good sub too.
Yeah, that was this deal here. By the time they bought it for $440, we got it for $420, and they knew if they went to sell it on the market, they were going to have to write a check. And so we were able to give them some money in their pocket.
Exactly.
And they were happy, and they moved to North Dakota, and we're living in a beautiful 4-2 bedroom home in Arizona.
I love
At
it.
3.75% interest.
Oh, that's even better. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I want to find one of those in the Austin area too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you said something about seniors. The house I'm in, that's what we marketed for.
Did you?
Yeah, we pulled a list for any house actually with a lien on it. It didn't matter what type of lien, right? And this house had a HVAC lien.
Oh.
So they had bought
Really?
a brand new HVAC and they financed it and couldn't make the payments. So they were behind on their mortgage, behind on the HVAC. They had just refied the house in 2022.
Wow.
It was
Good,
2021.
interesting.
I'm sorry. So it was a 2.25% interest
Oh
rate.
man, that's attractive.
I haven't seen that low yet.
They
Yeah.
were only
That's great.
2 months behind, but he had passed away and she was ready to go live with her son.
I bet.
She said, I can't pay this mortgage. I can't keep up this house. I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
Glad you were there for her.
Yo, she walked away, took no money, and just walked, handed me the house. It's worth $400,000. I only owe $200,000.
Oh, that is so awesome. Sure, that is amazing.
Yeah, you also help somebody. You know, what was she going to do? She's going to give it back to the bank. Why would she?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's out there. It's out there, you know, and it's a needle in a haystack for sure, but just keep looking because they're out there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. The last one we got was the high interest. It was 6.75, but it still made sense. And we were able to get a tenant in there that makes the mortgage and a little extra. And, you know, it worked. And
one of the things that I feel like paid off immensely is taking, what's his face in sub 2. I took his underwriting course and got all of that under my belt with, I already knew, because like I said, I'm great with math and business, but just to get all the different details that you may not think about inserted, and knowing that you're not missing anything when you're underwriting a property is so priceless.
That's great.
Dealing with properties. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it really is. So
what were some key takeaways for the underwriting for you that you didn't know before?
There's a lot of hidden things. I mean, all the things you think about when you've been a landlord before, but when you're buying an investment property, some of the things that I didn't think about, and I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head that I was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea to add that in there. And I'm sorry, it's escaping me, but it was good at reaffirming all of the things that I felt like I knew, but adding some of the smaller details that I might have missed. And so myself for both short-term rentals and long-term rentals. And this is something that you learn in sub 2 is that you don't buy a short-term rental that doesn't pencil as a long-term rental.
Right.
Otherwise, you're getting yourself into a situation where you have no escape hatch, no place.
Yeah.
It's true.
And same with a midterm or pretty much anything, I would think.
Right.
Or co-living. Yeah.
We're after time. Or
I always do this. We're out of time.
This goes. It's great conversation time. It's just gals taking.
Well, you guys have been fun. I've learned a lot from you. It's been great.
Yeah.
Brenda, if someone wants to reach out to you and have you help them learn a thing or two about investing, how can they get in touch with you?
Is pretty easy. It's Brenda@poskitt.com is my email. And then I'm on pretty much, like I said, I'm on Instagram and Facebook, and it's all my name, Brenda Poskitt. I put an RE at the end for real estate so that they know that it's the right Brenda Poskitt. I don't think there's another one. I think I'm pretty
There you go.
But yeah, the website has got all of my information on it as well. It also has a little mini course that I did on how to get started for your retirement journey.
Oh, that's perfect.
Oh, I love that.
And then if anybody wants, I did a free, easy guide, beginner's guide to passive income. And it includes some of the things we've been talking about and steps on how to get started.
Perfect.
And that, like I said, that's the biggest fear is they don't know how to get started. They don't even have a clue as where to go first. And it's just taking your passion and figuring out where that is, figuring out where you're comfortable.
Yeah.
Going for it, one step at a time.
Perfect.
It's never too late to get started.
Never, and that's the other thing is people think I'm too old. I started this, like I said, I started it a while ago, but it was just dabbling. The full force getting ready to retire on my own steam just started less than 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm 63. So
awesome. Well, thank
great.
you. Have a good night, ladies. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming on, Brenda.
Great to see you.
See you
Have
next
fun.
week, ladies.